to think about it. Before we got transported to this location, had me and Skava even, so to say, found this village, or had we all just been on our own tracks into the valley?
Well, the plan, or the extremely arbitrary justification I had was that all of you had been traveling together. You were the local guide. You were the local... the relatively local, the regional guide. And you were the person that they had contacted socially and intellectually when they came to the north. And you had traveled from the south, and you had brought this fellow who is bonded to his temple. So you are not really his servant, but you are in his line of work, or... Yeah,
I'm working for my temple, and my temple decided to, for the time, hand me over to guard him.
Exactly, because the Temple of the Merciful Dawn is sort of takes care of those poor people who are afflicted of chaos.
Yeah.
And you have noted that since you came to the north, there is no Temple of the Merciful Dawn.
No.
And I don't really grasp what's going on, though.
No, this is, not so much. And it's not, people don't talk about things that they know. So it's not like you would instantly deliver a little theological speech, to people. So now, the other thing that I have talked about is that the genders are, in terms of status, are slightly reversed from north and south, not socially, but the theology. There is a central husband and wife. In the south, that is the Sun Lord, and I guess you would say the wife of darkness, or something like that, something to do with the night sky. But it's referred to as the wife. Up here in the north, there is the Queen of Stars and the bright husband. So as soon as you got to the north and started talking to people and seeing how the religion was involved, maybe go to the temple on the holy day, you can quickly see the reversal in the status of the married couple. But all the routines are very similar. It's clearly the same religion. So that's what you have noted. That's why the big wooden post that I mentioned last time, that is decorated and repainted and is used as the central feature for the routines of this area, is that the primary figure is the Queen of Stars, not the bright husband. All this is relevant because the enactment of the marriage is something that is done on a particular holy day every year. And all of you are familiar with it. It's one of the ordinary holidays that happens. And although, since they are the central figures of the religion, although their stories are very boring, it's all the other gods who have the most interesting stories. But sort of socially, they represent the stability of society, and so even if you don't worship them directly, all of the little cults are sort of subcults or parts of this one. So there's no reason why you would. Everybody would throw in a little bit of attention and observance to this day. And who would they ask to stand in for the role of the bright husband? Except for this heroic foreigner who obviously is quite the representative of this kind of fellow, or at least would, for social purposes, would be. It's like doing the pageant, right? Somebody puts on the crown and stuff like that, and acts out the little part during the routines, and so it's not as though they're asking for your soul in a box or something like that. Nothing dreadful, but you find that you have been elected by popular perception for this role, which probably isn't too surprising. So the only other thing I will say is that your immediate access to anything about the ancient gods must be here.
We should definitely go back to that place.
You mean
In good time.
which
No,
other place?
no.
This one.
There were two.
The nearby
Up
one.
here,
Here.
yeah.
Oh, you mean okay?
Margaret,
It says
remember?
300. Is it 300 yards
Yeah,
or
I know.
meters or?
I have no idea what the maker of this map thought,
Oh.
but I don't care.
Okay, so what would you say the distance here is?
Right.
like-
This, remember, it took you guys a while to ride,
Yeah.
and it was wild enough that one of you could get separated from the others.
Yeah, true.
So I think on a very rapid ride, this is probably less than 2 hours.
Okay.
But if you are not driving your horses into the ground,
4
then
hours,
yeah,
3 hours,
yeah, exactly.
Half a day.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, half a day perhaps.
Yeah.
So that's my feeling.
So, by the way, while we are there and kind of trying to recover, I'm going to take care of everything I have,
Mm-hmm.
including armor,
Yeah.
getting new armor.
Correct. Yeah. Making your arrows and things like that.
I mean, I counted on losing the arrows actually in that
Right.
dungeon, but not the heads. And I try to make myself useful
Mm-hmm.
to the people around me.
Probably
I
hunting. Yeah.
I try to figure out as much as I can about the surroundings, animals, plants.
Yeah, you can easily, after a little while, you know this map perfectly,
So
and so you are the one who now has the best idea of how to get around in the area, and you also are aware that this area was once much more developed than it is now. A certain amount of the forest is new growth, not very new growth, but there was a time when this was a much more traveled and developed community. You have found several ruins, not full of ghouls or anything like that, but just ruins in this area that indicate, and there's certainly the existence of this fortress at all, indicates a much more organized and populous, developed area than it is now.
I may even try to figure out why those places were left for people,
Sure.
because it's obvious if there isn't anything around that's disturbing people left.
Right.
Just
Right. This
and
was
they usually have
this
some
was the
reason.
trouble.
I mean
Yeah.
that place was trouble,
Mm-hmm.
and that was pretty obvious. But if anything else I stumbled
it's-
about in the woods
Correct. And
seems clean.
yes.
I wonder
yes.
why.
So I see what you mean. Yes, but there's nothing of that kind. There's no indication of the ancient gods. In fact, if you had not reappeared in this tower and had that guy walk out of it, then it would have given no indication. For example, it's newer. It does not have the old carvings and things that you saw at the other tower. The other tower is obviously super ancient.
Yeah.
This one is in the history of your own culture. It's not. It doesn't look strange. This is what fortresses look like as far as you are concerned.
How many generations does the villagers themselves say they lived there?
Well,
How old is this settlement, according to them?
according to them, they have always lived here, and they actually seem correct. They are probably the last of. They did not move in recently.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they are probably the remains of the larger community.
Is it stone houses or is it wood or
Good
is
question.
it mud wood mixed?
I would say that wood has been used to repair old
Okay.
stone, and in many cases replaced it when it
Yeah.
became impractical. You can see some foundations, the remains of foundations in the ground, so you can see the shapes of buildings that used to be there.
Okay, so maybe they rebuilt it on on something older.
Yeah.
It could make sense that if there is a tower there, there is a tower to protect something, or
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and as you traveled around, as I say, you can see that there are some ruins in the forest and other indications of this kind.
the water. How does it flow? Does it flow down?
It seems to me that it goes that way.
Okay, from both.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So,
Well, yes, because this is up, right? Because of this
Mhm.
here and that seems to imply that to me.
And it's the ocean.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, now we say it's
Well,
certainly
I
over
see
there
it.
somewhere.
Don't you see it?
Yes, exactly. It's just off the map. Squint. Okay, so this is all quite nice. People are assimilating a little bit. You're getting a nice break, and the only concern, I guess the only thing I have to say is that obviously somebody who is going to represent the Queen of Night, who is not the young priest, has heard about these events and is going to come to represent her in the ceremony. So that's the only news, I suppose. That reminds me too. There's an island here nearby. This island.
Aw.
And when they talk about somebody coming to represent the Queen of Night, they're coming from that island.
Okay. Is there anything special with that island?
Well, that's a very good question. At this point, it seems to be it seems to have a religious significance. There seems to be perhaps some kind of mythological history of that island. They will tell you a legend.
Okay, so like Lesbos in the ancient world.
Yes, exactly, something like that. It has an identity to them. So when they say that this woman will come from this island to this is sort of an event. This is
Okay,
not they've not really thought about that before.
So if the water flows down towards the sea, where is the next settlement? Because you talked about like transport on the water.
Right.
Is that something that actually goes on still?
Yes, it does.
So
but it is not thriving trade
Yeah.
like Phoenicia or something. But it is true that goods will travel through here, and I was looking at this. This coast is clearly going to be thriving in sea trade. You see the rivers coming down and everything. But out here, this is more stormy and rugged. And so most of so only the most fierce sailors, the bravest sailors, will do this, and a lot of the bravest sailors are also pirates. So that's a problem. And then then that's another reason why you don't really have a connected trade of goods in any distance to think of. Caravans do not travel from here all the way out to there.
So they don't really have anything to trade with which they don't have in other parts of the world. Like they don't have like a surplus of animal skins or hides or stuff.
Actually,
like
I
that.
would say that probably the goods from this area could be quite notable. First of all, the primary metal that you guys use is bronze. For bronze, you need copper and you need tin. Copper is up here.
Okay.
Oh,
So the supply of, it's not the only place you can get it, but the supply of copper from here is good if you can get it, right? So they are used to traders coming through.
So when traders go downstreams or whatever transport form, do they ever stop with the village?
Yes, they do.
Or do they have any?
This is
contact?
actually a pretty good area to stop. You would think that it would be a pretty good spot for this.
Yeah.
It's just that the area in general is not very populated, and it seems to you, now that you are thinking about it, a little bit under its potential.
Yeah. But they don't have like a toll or something like
No,
that. That they
no, it's not that
Okay.
organized. Yeah.
But
The
during our stay, do we have any other contacts with people from up?
You will certainly, yeah, I know what you mean.
Upstream.
Upstream.
yeah, upstream, exactly.
Southeast, west.
In your
upstream.
case, it would probably be anywhere from here, right?
Okay, so we would say
Right.
up north.
Yeah.
Okay.
But on the other hand, there is that big ceremony coming.
Yeah.
And especially if somebody famous or mystically significant is coming,
Yeah.
you can probably expect a certain amount of travel of people to this area. So the biggest potential for that kind of contact is this very same
Yeah.
event.
True. I just thought if he.
But as an
interacted
ongoing
with,
thing,
with,
no, there will not be a wagon or a caravan or a big ship coming through
No.
anytime soon. It's more of a small, occasional passage from people or small groups of people.